Right, hi folks. So I'm just uploading another two videos that I made earlier on today, and one of the videos I was talking about the food that I've just bought with the kind help of my ex-girlfriend Joanne, who very kindly lent me £20, and anyway, as I explained in the first video, anyway, like I say, it was more about getting some food for my cat. But anyway, trying not to go off topic here, so I'm trying to stay focused and try to keep it not too long-winded. So basically, I'd say something struck me when I was coming back with 2 bags of shopping, and in terms of how I've been feeling, particularly over this last month and a half, maybe a little bit longer, maybe even longer than that, but anyway, particularly in the last few days, the last couple of weeks particularly, it's been extremely intense in terms of my emotions, my feelings, and the desperation I've been feeling. The intensity has been extreme, and like I've said in another video, I haven't felt this bad in a long time. Anyway, so like I said, the thing is that I'm walking down the road, I've got these 2 bags of shopping, and I started to notice how I was feeling, and I started to notice how much of the tension and stress and negative feelings were evaporating, basically. You know what I mean? I was feeling so much better and so much more relaxed and less stressed, essentially. The bottom line, a lot less stressed. And I realised it's because of the knowledge of the fact that I've got food. You know what I mean? I've got enough food to last me for a good week, maybe longer. Do you know what I mean? And it got me thinking. It's because I was really surprised at just how, because I've bought food before when I've had very little food, or sometimes even no food, and I've bought food before, and I've got food from a food bank before and stuff and what have you. But I never noticed that same sense of relief and release and same sense of just feeling so much more less stressed, essentially. And like I say, it's got me thinking, because I'm thinking, like, when you sort of do think about it in some ways, that it's not just about the physical act of eating and having food to eat, because obviously you need food to eat to stay well, to stay healthy, and so forth and what have you. And obviously in that sense, that on a fundamental level, food is extremely important. But then I never really considered the aspect of the psychological side that food has, because psychologically food impacts us in a much more subtle ways than we realise sometimes, I think. Because it wasn't just the mere fact that I've got food there, because I can't physically eat it there and then in the street, do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like it was relieving my hunger there and then, right at that moment. But just the knowledge in the back of my head that I've got food enough to last me for a good few days at least, you know what I mean? Seemed to release some sense of this heavy weight, this heavy pressure, this heavy sense of like doom and gloom and all the rest of it, sort of thing. And like I say, I started thinking, like, wow, there's something here to be looked into in terms of like how that impacts on us in a psychological way. And like I say, I mean, I understand at least to some degree anyway, I understand there's a biological, chemical component to this, because obviously my amygdala is releasing endorphins and whatever, you're saying like, oh, well done, we've got food now, we can survive, we can live, this is great, this is what we need to do, this is a positive thing. So it releases those positive chemicals. So I know on a sort of, if you want on a reductionist system or a reductionist way of looking at it, from a scientific, very reductionist point of view, that's basically what's happening, is that that my brain is releasing certain chemicals that is helping me to feel a lot calmer, a lot less stressed. So in that sense, yes, I get and understand that that's what's happening within my brain. But nonetheless, it's still still find it interesting that I assume it must have happened on those other occasions when I got food, but I didn't notice the same degree of feeling less stressed, I guess, if you could put it that way. So I'm thinking, why in this particular instance? What's different? Why do I notice it so much more now? Now, again, it could be lots of other factors. It could be the fact that it's been a longer period this time in terms of the stress levels. I've been stressed for a longer period. And again, from watching some of the things I've been watching online on YouTube, when they're talking about how stress can it actually shrinks a part of the brain, the hippocampus, and the longer the duration of that stress and the more intensity of that stress can actually literally physically shrink the size of your hippocampus. It can actually reduce the size of it and reduce the connections therein, sort of thing. And so these things can have a actual physical effect upon your brain, and so on. So, the thing is that I kind of get and understand from that, and know that can affect how you're feeling, your mood, and all the rest of it, and this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. But as I say, I just found it really interesting, to be quite honest. That I noticed just how much how less stressed I felt walking down the road with those bags of shopping. How much more I felt like relief. I felt relieved, and because that's the other part of this, is that because from my videos it sounds very much it's just all about money and that. Well, it's just a necessity of the society and the structure of the world that we live in, that virtually everything we do is governed by money in one shape or another, in one form or another. I always used to say, because I basically hate money. I do. I don't like money because I think it causes more problems in this world than it actually really solves, to be quite honest. And again, a lot of my ideas and thoughts and feelings around money have been bolstered by the Zeitgeist movement films, and the Venus Project and what have you, sort of thing. So the whole idea and concept about money, I've never really liked it, because to me it always seems to be the cause and root of lots of issues and problems within families, but even more globally. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the troubles, a lot of the stuff that's going on around the world, if you got to the root causes of it, if you really dig deep down into the actual core issues, more often than not, I know there are some exceptions in terms of, some people have got ideologies and it's about ideologies and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. But even within that, I reckon, if you really dug deep enough, you would still come to a conclusion or a finding that money was at the base of it somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And money had some kind of influence, whether it was, directly or indirectly. You'll always find that the money has some part to play in it. And so for me, like I say, I've never liked money. I've always thought it causes more trouble than it solves. But it is a fundamental part of the societies, of all the societies virtually on this planet that we live in. So I used to always say to people as well, one of my things about what I used to say, and I've probably said this on videos before anyway, but if just for argument's sake, and again this is a whole other genre that we could get into, and I'm not necessarily going to right now, but just for argument's sake, supposing an alien landed on this planet somewhere, either on the White House lawn, there's the usual classic, but wherever. Do you know what I mean? If an alien, or just again, not the White House, just for argument's sake, just supposing I bumped into an alien somewhere, I know, but this is all completely obviously hypothetical, but let's suppose, just for argument's sake, I come across an alien, and this alien turns around to me and says, like, hi, I'm from planet so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Could you, in one word, sum up the human race for me? Just in one word. I know that's really difficult, whatever, but just one word that you could sum up that kind of encapsulates everything about the human race, essentially. And my word would be money. That sums us up, I think, perfectly. You know what I mean? Money. If you want to sum up the human race and give an alien some sort of idea of what the human race is all about, money. Plain and simple, bottom line, money. You know what I mean? Now, yes, there are lots of other facets about us. There's, you know, religion and art and philosophy and science and you know, lots of other positive and negative stuff about us that you could describe us. But overall, as a general sort of way of equating human beings, it boils down to money. Look at the world. Look at what's happening in it at the moment. Look at everything, virtually, like I said, virtually everything we do as human beings is motivated by the you know, trying to obtain and gain money. You know, and I'm not putting a moral judgment on that. I'm not saying that that's wrong or bad or this, that and the other, and da, da, da. You know, it's a necessity of life, whatever, at this moment in time, and as our societies stand anyway. What I'm saying is that in some ways, when you think about it, if you look deep enough and look into the philosophy and think about it in a philosophical way, it's quite a sad thing, really, when you think about it, that everything we do virtually is motivated by money in one form, either directly or indirectly, like I say. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we go to work, the majority of people, whatever, you know, you go to work, you know, because you've got to earn money, to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, to put food on your table, everything, the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, you go out to a nightclub, you know, because you want to let off a bit of steam because you've been working all week or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's motivated. Yes, it's motivated because you want to let off a bit of steam and let your hair down and have a good time and all that and chill and relax and de-stress and what have you. But it still revolves around money. You can't go there for free, can you? Do you know what I mean? At least I've never heard of any nightclubs that you know, open the doors for free and you can drink free alcohol and or whatever sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, so those places that you go to, you might not personally be motivated to go there because of money necessarily, but the people that are providing that service, they're motivated by the acquisition of money. Do you know what I mean? The whole point is to get the money you've got in your pocket out of your pocket and into their tills and into their bank account. So, you know, everything essentially revolves around it. Do you know what I mean? Everything that we do and all the rest of it, it's inescapable. And like I say, when you look at it in a philosophical way, I think that's quite a sad thing, really, that we have to do everything almost purely because money dictates that we have to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. You know, some people argue, and some people may take offence at this, but some people do argue that, you know, money has become the new god sort of thing. You know, people worship money. Do you know what I mean? You could argue that some of these rich people, these 1%ers and that, perhaps they do. So I don't know, but, you know, but again, you know, I'm not trying to get into that side of things. I'm just saying that, I don't know, it just seems so... You know, everything has to be geared around money, and for a person to have any quality or decent kind of life, they have to have money. Do you know what I mean? You know, I mean, because like the thing is, like I said, what I'm thinking about is in that, and I did say this in the other video, but like I said, it's just crystallised even more now when I was coming down the road with those bags. Like I said, that when things weren't as bad as this for me, and when I still had a little bit of money and whatever, even when the times, it's like I said, it's the length of time in between having money and not having money has grown wider and wider and longer. And so therefore, my reserves of food and so forth, it's gone completely depleted. I used to have my kitchen was well stocked with food. Do you know what I mean? I kept it well stocked. There was plenty of food in there. I would look in my cupboard sometimes and think like, oh, I've got like, I don't know, 10 months worth of food here. Do you know what I mean? There's enough food here to last me for quite some time sort of thing. I don't have to worry about it. So if I went for a whole week without any money, yes, it was, you know, a bit stressful and it was a bit, hard, and you couldn't get a latte coffee, because I couldn't afford money, whatever. Oh, great, what a great hardship, whatever, blah blah blah. But I didn't suffer in the same way I've been suffering just lately. Do you know what I mean? Nowhere near. Do you know what I mean? Because I had plenty of food. So the fact that in that sense the money was completely irrelevant in that context. In the context that it didn't necessarily, I didn't have to have that money to have a certain level of quality of life. And I don't just mean in terms of material things, I just mean in terms of a mental well-being. Do you know what I mean? That my mental well-being wasn't dependent on me having some money that week. Do you know what I mean? Just as long as I had a well-stocked kitchen, I had my house, my flat, my warmth, my clothes, my entertainment to watch on my computer, whatever sort of thing. Just as long as I had all of those, the basics, if you like, just as long as I had those things, then I could have a reasonably happy life without having the actual physical need to have that money at that point, But as that period got longer and longer, and as the food got more and more depleted, and now it becomes literally hand to mouth sort of thing, where to the point where now I go 2 or 3 days without any money, it actually has a massive and serious impact in terms of how much food I've got. So now that really plays on your mind, and so now it really is being detrimental to my well-being and having any quality of life. I don't know. It boggles my mind. I'm completely incredulous to the fact that my life has to be dependent on a thing that essentially is created in debt in the first place anyway. When the banks print that money, it's not printed for free. It's not just, it literally doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it's made out of trees, perhaps, the paper at least, but it certainly doesn't actually just appear on a tree somewhere, and it doesn't magically appear out of nowhere. To produce and print that money actually costs money to make the money. Printing ink, paper, the machinery, somebody to pay to operate that machinery. So to print money, it's not like, dead simple, just like, let's print a bunch of money. I mean, don't forget, it happened in 1930s back in Germany when they were printing it so much that a big wheelbarrow full of money, you could hardly buy a loaf of bread with it. It became completely pointless and meaningless. Do you know what I mean? So the whole of my life has to depend and revolve around this piece of paper that essentially is given to you, and even now the thing, it used to be promise to pay the bearer, whatever. Say if it was a £10 note, say for instance, it was promise to pay the bearer £10, and that was a promise years ago that doesn't exist anymore, but that was a promise by the banks that for whatever reason, should that paper money completely devalue in value for some reason or other, you would get paid back in gold. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be a guarantee that your money, regardless of what was going on within the markets and this, that and the other, whatever sort of thing, that the value of your £10 would still hold its value because it was backed up by gold. Now that's how it originally was supposed to work, but it hasn't worked like that for a long time. So that thing where it says promise to pay the bearer, it means absolutely nothing now. There's no meanings to those words at all because it's not backed up by anything. Look into it. Like I say, don't take my word for it. You know what I mean? I've watched those Zeitgeist movement films. I've watched other things as well. It's not just them. There's other places on YouTube. You go and check it out. You Google it and you find out. I'm telling you. Your money is not worth, virtually almost not worth the paper it's actually printed on. It's all about debt and all about, anyway, I'm not a financial so I'm kind of lost my thread a little bit there, but I say, don't take my word for it. I'm not an expert here. I'm just regurgitating stuff that I've heard and picked up and watched from online and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So, this is nothing I'm invented, created, or whatever sort of thing. This is purely stuff that I've heard and watched and read. And I don't know. I just, like I say, it just annoys me and upsets me, and leaves me completely speechless sometimes, and keep completely like, what kind of what is this the world that we really want? Do you know what I mean? Is this the kind of world we want? A world where a person's worth, a person's value as a human being is dictated by how much money they have, or how much money they can earn, or how much money, their value is about, is to do with the money rather than the value of the human being in front of you. Do you know what I mean? What a sad world. What a sad world we live in. Do you know what I mean? When human life is equated in terms of how much monetary income or monetary value that person can produce, or is worth in that sense. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. It just seems such a desperate, sad world somehow to me. And then you think about if an alien was to land on this planet. I don't know. I have no idea. We can only imagine. Maybe they have worse societies. Maybe they're an aggressive, great reptilian species for all I know. I don't know. You know what I mean? They have no morals, no what's name at all. Or they may be enlightened beings, an enlightened species that have a much better way of living with each other and with the universe and what. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. Maybe our way is the only way and it's the right way. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is what it is and this is how it has to be, and we just sit down and accept it, and we don't try to think of, is there other possibilities? Do you know what I mean? Is this the only way? Maybe it is. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we get down the line another couple of thousand years or whatever, we're still all here, and we discover, do you know what? Some of those other ways we tried and they didn't work, and no, this is it. This is what we have. This is the only system that works, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? So, hey-ho, I guess maybe if that's the case, then that's the case. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. All I know is that, like, at the end of the day, I wish that it wasn't really, it has to be always like this. I would like to hope, and I dream that one day the zeitgeist, well, not that I keep saying the zeitgeist, but they're the movies around, sort of centered around the ideas and concepts around the Venus project with Jacques Fresco and his ideas. But I like to say, it's not just one person, not just that guy. There's lots of other people out there with lots of very similar ideas. Some are slightly different, whatever. But that general theme, that general idea of living in a society that lives within its means, for a start off, and when I say that, I mean in terms of what resources this planet actually has, and an intelligent way of managing those resources, and a society that is based purely upon self-enlightenment and helping your fellow man to better themselves and so forth. A much more socially minded society, if you like. I don't know. I'm not sure how to phrase what I'm thinking, or what I'm trying to think. I'm not sure how to phrase at this moment in time. But like I say, I do have hope that one day we might come to that realization. Might think, you know what? Wow. All this fossil fuel, all this money thing, all this what's name and all, everybody out for themselves and blah blah blah. Maybe this isn't really a good idea, because ultimately it ain't gonna work. It's not sustainable, and so we'll either end up, like I say, like it says on the final film of Peter Joseph, the one of the series of Culture in Decline. If you catch that, you'll see at the end there's two paths, basically. There's two ways the human race essentially could go. Yeah, there may be other routes, possibly. I don't know. I'm just going by what I saw in that documentary. So two paths. Either we keep going down the path we're going now, and keep going along until we destroy ourselves completely, until the planet's completely screwed, and that's the end of us. Or we go down the other path, which is the path of trying to change the system, trying to change things fundamentally and live in a completely different way, and hopefully we prosper and to quote Spock, we live long and I can't live now. We live long and prosper. Do you know what I mean? So to put it in the immortal words of Spock, we live long and prosper, hopefully down the other path. But I don't know. But I hope that my hope is, and my, and it's weird in a sense because I'm not necessarily. I don't think by nature I'm an optimist. By nature, I think I'm naturally geared towards being pessimistic. I generally tend to see the glass half empty rather than half full. But I do work on that. Like I say, I work on myself. I try to see the positives. But on this one particular issue, and I've always been like this ever since I can remember, ever since I was a child, I used to dream about alien races and other worlds and all this lot. I was very much into the fantasy side of things. And anyway, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that I've always had hope for the human race, even when it's most darkest, whatever, its darkest moments. I've always believed that, I've always had hope that the human race will eventually at some point get its act together, and work together and like I said, live long and prosper and go out there and explore the universe and be a force for good. I just, that, for me, I've always held that hope and belief, to be quite honest. Now, there are moments and times in my own darkest moments and my own darkest times that that belief kind of goes out the window, but it doesn't go forever. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't go completely. It's a very core fundamental thing that I have that I don't think will ever change no matter what goes on personally for me. Yes, like I said, don't get me wrong, there'll be moments when I think, oh, hurry up and press that button and get on with it. You know what I mean? I'm sick of the lot of you. You know what I mean? You get right up my nose. I hate the bloody lot of you sometimes. But like I say, that's when I'm in my darkest, most despairing moments. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry if that offends people. That's not meant to. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just telling you how it is. There are times when, like I say, when I'm so stressed and so screwed up in my head and so, hurting so much, that there are times when I look out and I'm going to work or whatever, and that especially the rush hour time when to me, everybody starts looking like those rats. The rat race term looks so real, you know what I mean? Everybody's scurrying along those tubes in the underground to get to their work and all this lot, and they become almost like mindless automatons, you know what I mean? Almost mindless zombies that are just fixated and focused purely on getting to their job and making sure they make their money. And again, it's not about demonizing them or whatever, but that's how they kind of look sometimes when I'm in my darkest moments in my own mind. It's not because I don't fundamentally dislike the human race or people. I don't. You know what I mean? If anything, I actually do like people. I like people. I do like people. I'm very much a people person. But there are moments. You know what I mean? There are times when the stress and the pain and the what's them gets just so much that I feel so overwhelmed. And in those moments, I see the human race and I think to myself, but as I said, the bottom line, the fundamental core belief of me has always been that I've got hope for us. Do you know what I mean? That yes, we will eventually, better ourselves and be a force for good out there in the universe eventually at some point. Whenever and how far along down the line that will be. I've always had a hope for us. Because I think deep down, and again on a fundamental level, that human beings overall are good. Do you know what I mean? They're not bad, evil people necessarily. Yes, you got individual people that can be whatever, blah blah blah. And again, I don't want to get into a big long speech because I've already made this. Here we go again with another long video. But fundamentally, human beings, I think, are good. at heart generally. Do you know what I mean? You know, they're not bad people necessarily. It's just that we get caught up in stuff. You know what I mean? We get caught up in our, when the blinkers go on. You get those blinkers on, and you get your tunnel vision, and all you can think about, and all you what's the name is you concentrate on trying to stay alive and trying to keep your family alive, and so on and so forth. And we get caught up in that stuff, and it's part of the system that we've helped to create it. But also it's these 1%ers, as they keep calling them these days, and what have you, the rich and the powerful and the what's names, that keep that system in place and keep control of it. Do you know what I mean? We've helped to create it, but they basically oversee it, control it, keep it going, keep it, because they want it to keep going. They want it to keep. They want to keep the status quo because it lines their pockets and makes their lives so much better. Do you know what I mean? Well, the rest of us have to just get on with it. You know, but that's just my opinion. These are my opinions. You know, people can disagree as much as they like, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying that my opinions are necessarily right either. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. You know, these are my opinions right at this moment, and they're coloured by the way I'm feeling. They're coloured by my own mental health issues. They're coloured by my own stresses and so forth, and my own experiences. So, you know, I fully accept the fact that these opinions that I have now, my opinions can change. Do you know what I mean? And people can also help me to change those views if help me to look in a different way, as some people have done along the line. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about people like John Connolly and a couple of other people who. Sorry, I've just hit the leg of the tripod. So, you know, like I say, these are just my opinions right at this moment in time, which are coloured by lots of different other issues and other things that are going on. And, you know, as I say, I don't claim that these opinions are necessarily absolutely 100% accurate or right. They're just my opinions of this moment in time. So, anyway, I think I've waffled on enough, and I've completely gone off subject, as usual. And, you know, I did, like I say, I was supposed to be talking about the psychology of food. That's how we started on this journey. And, you know, like I say, I guess because I haven't quite really formulated my thoughts around this psychology of food thing, I want to do some research. I want to see if there's any books out there that are actually on this subject. Is there an actual subject called psychology of food? Is there an actual book, research, or even a discipline around it? Do you know what I mean? Is there such a thing as a food psychologist even, perhaps? I have no idea. I've never come across one. Never heard about it being spoken. And I kind of, on the periphery of those fields, you know, of great. Sometimes words completely escape me, and I don't know how to phrase something. I know what I'm trying to say, but then the word to particularly be able to articulate just completely escapes me, and I lose how to phrase that particular thing I'm trying to say. So, yeah, anyway, I'm on the periphery of people who work in those fields, is what I'm trying to get to, is like psychologists and so forth. And like I said, John, who I work very closely with and have done for many years, is a psychologist himself. So, you know, and being within that, or even though I'm not like fully immersed in it, like I say, I'm on the periphery of it, if you like, I've never heard of or come across the term a food psychologist. So I don't know, maybe that's a new discipline that can be created. So you heard it here first, folks. I've coined a new phrase and come up with a new food psychologist. I'm going to train as a food psychologist. I like it. The psychology of food. Anyway, yeah, maybe I should start marketing this, and then maybe I should write a book and start a new flipping thing here. Hey, wow. Become rich and famous. No, I don't want to be rich. Seriously, do you know what I mean? People might look at me or hear that and say, like, don't believe you. No, everybody wants to be rich and famous. No, sorry, I don't. Seriously, I don't. Yeah, comfortable. Too damn right I want to be comfortable. Do you know what I mean? I want to be in a position where I don't have to worry about paying my bills, getting food and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Too right. You know what I mean? I want to be in that position, but I'm not interested in having big yachts and houses and this, that, and having millions in the bank. No, 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 no. And if I had millions in the bank, like I've said before, I'd be using it to help the homeless. Do you know what I mean? So, well, that's what I'd be doing anyway. But, like I said, you know, I'm not really interested. That's not what what I'm about necessarily. But, yeah, no, just toying with the idea though that, you know, creating this new discipline, this new genre, not genre, well, whatever, this new thing, food psychologist. I'm going to be the world's first food psychologist. Right, okay, look, I'm going silly now, and I keep knocking this flipping tripod. Oh dear. Stop knocking the tripod. Right. Okay. Right. This is way too long. Right, I'm going to shut up. And I bet people go, thank God for that. Oh my God, I thought he'd never shut up. Right. Okay. See you guys later. Bye for now.